Advisory Board. This as AAPI History Month closes out, so the timing is just perfect. This is an effort by the mayor and the city to include AAPI voices in community efforts and decisions. When I first came to Houston over 30 years ago, I'll tell you, I can remember Bel Air and the Daiho supermarket, which was sort of the granddaddy and the stalwart of supermarkets. And there were a couple of blocks of businesses there. It was nice, but it is nothing like it is today, where you literally can go for miles, and there are just businesses upon businesses, restaurants and dentists and insurance companies and tax advisors, and the community has grown to include Koreans and Japanese and Vietnamese and on and on. So, it should not be any surprise that in the last decade, the AAPI population in Harris County has grown faster than any other racial or ethnic group in the area, the percentage rate of increase. So it is a wonderful time for the creation of such an advisory board, and there are so many things to consider. So as we stand here today, I'd like to welcome our Mayor, Sylvester Turner. Okay, he needs no introduction. We all know who he is. He will be addressing us. District F Council Member Tiffany Thomas. And the Chair of the AAPI Advisory Board and Attorney Extraordinary, Nomi Hussein. And Houston Representative, State Representative Jean Wu, who I think is making a mad dash from Austin to join us here. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today, and please welcome the Mayor of Houston, Texas, Sylvester Turner.
Look, let me thank Showman Chow, and I really appreciate her for taking time out of a very, very busy TV schedule to come and be with us today. And she and I have been on this journey for a few years that I have the utmost respect for, and just an extraordinary journalist in her own right. So please give it up to Showman Chow. And I've been following the stories that she's been doing on KHOU, and our story, our history, which is simply remarkable and fascinating, which even added an added degree of urgency on our part to make this announcement in this particular month. And then from the beginning, I certainly, Councilmember Tiffany Thomas of District F, which is one of the most diverse city council districts in the city of Houston. And she and I discussed this several months ago about putting this group together. So I want to thank her for her leadership. And then, of course, Councilmember Sally Alcorn at large. Also has been very helpful on so many different fronts. And Councilmember Carla Cisneros from District H is also present. I want to thank her for her leadership here at the City of Houston. Let me just say good afternoon to everyone, and I'm honored to stand before you. I guess in many ways to introduce, to present, and I won't necessarily say to introduce, because most of you, if not almost every last one of you, I have come to know. So we want to present this, I guess you can say, this newest advisory board, the Asian American and Pacific Islander Board. Today is the last day of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, but this new advisory board marks the beginning of a new chapter in our commitment to foster inclusivity and strengthen the bonds between the City of Houston and its diverse community. Some might ask, well, Mayor, you've been mayor now for 7+ years. Why make this announcement right now? Well, it's always a good time to, in many ways, to institutionalize inclusivity in our city. And quite frankly, uh, um, it is important to be able to reach out to individuals within our city to help move our city forward. There are still 7 months left in my term as mayor of the city of Houston. And quite frankly, there's a lot you can do in addition to what we have done over the next 7 months. So this is not an announcement of an advisory group, simply to say, okay, we've put it together in the month of May. This is essentially saying we have 7 months with me as mayor of the city of Houston, and there are 7 months in which we can do some incredible things. And your input is very much appreciated. And quite frankly, you're going to be getting a call or an email or a text from us very shortly asking for your ideas on some things. So there's a lot we can do, and we'll do over the next 7 months. And then at the same time, it becomes a bridgeway to the next mayor, irrespective of who that mayor will be. And that way, it can be off and running for the next term. So it's not about just what's happening with me as mayor. It's about moving the city forward in a very positive, intentional way. And it's better to start off in an intentional fashion, and that means you can do even more. So Houston is not only a vibrant city, but also the most diverse city in our nation. We take great pride in this distinction and recognize the need to ensure that the voices of all of our communities are heard and very much included. And today, as we welcome this board, we are taking a significant step towards achieving that goal. This advisory board will play a pivotal role in addressing the concerns and challenges faced by the AAPI community in the months ahead, both during my administration and into the next. And quite frankly, as I look out, there is so much power and influence in this room. I mean, young and those who are a little bit older. By serving as a bridge between the community and the city, this board will help shape policies and initiatives that are responsive to the needs of our AAPI residents and to the Houston community at large. It is worth acknowledging that the rich history of the Asian American community in Houston dates back approximately 150 years or more. The first recorded Asian immigrants arrived here, laying the foundation for a vibrant and thriving community. And over the past 5 decades, our AAPI population has grown exponentially. Today, Houston proudly boasts one of the top 10 largest AAPI populations in the nation, with over 1.2 million AAPI residents residing in Harris County alone. This diverse community has contributed immensely to the cultural, economic, and social fabric of our great city. And quite frankly, we would not be the dynamic city that we are without the AAPI population in our city. Allow me to take a moment to introduce the esteemed members of the Asian American and Pacific Islanders Advisory Board. Each member brings a wealth of knowledge, experience, and passion to this important endeavor. Normi Hussain, an AAPI Advisory Board Chair, the board chair, is a personal injury lawyer and, as Sherman said, extraordinaire for over 2 decades. The former board member of the Houston Ethics Commission and the Building and Standards Commission, and a member of the Harris-Houston Sports Authority. And I want to thank Norman for agreeing to serve.
Thank you.
Now, not everybody was able to be here today, but I think we got most people who are here. And if you just briefly stand, I'm not going to go through no lengthy resume, just a brief statement. Wei Lee, thank you. CEO of Southern News Group. You know, I don't know how many countless papers he has, but thank you, Wei Lee. Sophia Hussein of Apex Group. Where's Sophia? David Kim, Director of Urban Land Institute. Safir Tahir, Greenwood Law and on the Planning Commission, Houston City Planning Commission. Jagdeep Alawalia, where's Jagdeep? I don't see him. He's of the Executive Director of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce of Greater Houston and kind of led the way for us when we went on our trade mission to India. Donna Cole, the CEO of Cole Chemical, and joined with me on our trade mission to Japan. Thank you, Donna. Helen Chan of the Korean Community Center. Helen, thank you for your incredible leadership. Alice Lee, Chief of Staff for Leslie Barones, Precinct 4, and very active in TERS 20. Kenneth Lee, Dr. Kenneth Lee of the Southwest Management District, also wants my title. He's the mayor out in that area. Shah Halim of Bangladesh, of the Bangladesh Association Real Estate Area. Hasu Patel, the principal at Unity Hotel Group. Thank you, Hasu. Muhammad Sheikh, where's Muhammad? There's Muhammad, president of the Houston Karachi Sister City Association. Lola Reyes, founder of the Filipino Chamber of Commerce of Greater Houston. Maraj Ajani, Chief Products Architect at CSOF Technologies, President of the Ismaili community. Paul Goa, Director of the Asian Chamber of Commerce of Houston. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate your leadership. Patsy Brown, Executive Director of the Japan American Society of Houston. Thank you, Patsy. Nancy Lee. Nancy, active with AAPI issues and the Holocaust Museum Board. I think I met this guy 1 or 2 times. Bobby Singh, principal at the Asani Consulting Group. Casey Young, president of WeCo International Corporation and the Korean American Association and Community Center of Houston. Ben Chow, where's Ben? Of the Houston Endowment. Bianca Mabut Louis, doctoral student in sociology at Rice University. Cindy Dean. Cindy is counsel at Summa Tuma Corporation of Americas. And when you talk about a large corporation all over the globe, thank you so very much. Look forward to working with you. Sarah Saeed, community organizer at Woori Juntos. Thank you so very much, Sarah. Victor Lee, where's Victor? Vice President of Operations at Story International Architects, celebrating 40 years. Serene Valverde, CEO of M3 Graphics, and a young man. Is it Dia Koa Win? Did I get that? Give me the full name. Pharmacist and founder at DT Pharmacy. Thank you so very much. Tejo Patel, the Executive Officer of Communications at HISD, and really a former press person at the City of Houston who left me and went over to HISD. Tejo, good to see you. Welcome back to the City of Houston. Darian Bew, is Darian here? Darian, did I get that last name right? Bowie? Bowie, insurance and real estate broker. Thank you so very much. Is that Rufti Natarajan? Did I get it? Event coordinator for Leslie Briones, the Precinct 4. Thank you. Maraj Patel, president of Wayside Investment, and another young leader in our city. Lindsay G. Calvert. What's Lindsay Calvert? Director of the Center for Access and Equity at the Institute of International Education. Aaron Obie. Aaron? Aaron is a scribe at Berkeley I Center. Danny Nguyen, real estate broker at Danny Nguyen International, very successful business person, former city council out of Missouri City, now just making money. Glenda Joe. Is Glenda here? Give it up to Glenda Joe. Glenda is founder of the Great Wall Enterprises, and Glenda and I were student activists at University of Houston at the same time. I've known Glenda Joe for, well, I'm not going to say how long. M.J. Khan. Real estate developer, former board member, and president of the Islamic Society of Greater Houston, former city council member, MJ, of District F. Okay. The west side is the best side. All right, that's here. Tony Lee. Extraordinary business person, partner at Stewart Capital. I mean, just doing some incredible, incredible things. Thank you, Tony. Don Lynn. Attorney at Don Lynn and Associates. She's a fee attorney, not a free attorney. Fee attorney. Glenn Kondo, CEO of Kondo Company, Inc. And Glenn, thank you. Just from a small business and now just a growing, thriving business, and also accompanied me on the trip to Japan. So thank you, Glenn. And Stephen Lee Jr. Stephen here? I don't see him. As president of Great Land Investment Real Estate. We are grateful for each of your commitment. Your expertise will undoubtedly help to ensure the concerns of the AAPI community and given the attention they deserve. And let me just say this. The list could be way long. In fact, I will tell you, when Olivia, when Olivia brought me the names, it was, and one of the reasons why it's taken us to this point, it's like how do you narrow it down? Which speaks well about the breadth, the depth, the richness, the influence of the Asian PI community in our city of Houston. We could have come up with 500 names, and still there would have been 500 other names to work with. This number should by no means say these are the only leaders that we have. Just a small reflection, but a powerful one at that. And as mayor, I could not be more proud of this city and the diversity and the wealth and the experience that exists in our city. So in closing, let us embrace this opportunity to work together, united in our pursuit of a more inclusive and equitable city. By fostering dialogue, understanding, and collaboration, we will continue to create a Houston where every voice is heard and every community thrives. And I just want the message to go to the entire city of Houston, that you don't represent a portion of, in a sense. You are Houston. You know, this is not, you know, we're not just recognizing somebody who, and some people say, who have come from all other parts of the world and now we identify. No, you are Houston. You are Houston. And now we have just a basic responsibility to make sure that all Houstonians benefit from the diversity that exists within our city, because your story becomes our history. And so I want to thank you. Having said that, I do want to acknowledge Chief Fenner of HPD. And I want to acknowledge one of our executive chiefs. How many executive chiefs do we have? 2 or 3? We have 2. And one of them happens to be executive chief Mantin, who is not here, but who is just, doing an incredible job. And then one of our assistant chief is Chief Bashir. Chief Bashir comes forward. Our first Pakistani chief in the entire United States of America, you know. So, I just want to emphasize the wealth of the richness that exists within our city. This is Houston, and I am so proud. Now, having said that, I think it's time for me to segue off, and Chairman John, I'm gonna give it. Tiffany Thomas of District F. Councilman Thomas.
Thank you, Mayor Turner. Listen, I don't bother the mayor for much, unlike some of my colleagues. But when I do reach out to him, he knows it's something meaningful. And I can say this, and I want to publicly say this, I just appreciate your willingness when I do have an ask to listen, and then to act, and then provide resources. And so I want to thank you for the opportunity to work with Olivia. She's been very helpful with this, these big ideas, and then deploying all of the resources to make today happen. I want to adapt a quote from one of my favorite authors, Anna Julia Cooper, in 1892, her famous quote of "When and where I enter." I'm going to adapt it to say, "When and where I enter, the whole human race enters with me." And I think this is something that I've embodied throughout my public service, and today it still rings true. I often say, as the mayor mentioned, that the West Side is the best side, and I hold true to that. Yes, it's the best side. But clearly I am biased, but for very good reason. Many of the communities that are represented here today operated in the shadows of the city. They were thriving, they were building, raising their families, starting their businesses without much attention, creating the cultural currency that we get to boast of today. And because of the genius of our diversity, we all get to stand here in a room full of some of the best ambassadors from the Vietnamese, Filipino, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indian communities, Pakistan communities to lead from the front. And the genesis of this advisory board started with a virtual phone call, and I'm saddened that Ben Chu is not here today, because Mayor, I believe we started this conversation in August of 2022. But I was having a virtual phone call with Brandon Mack of the LGBT caucus and Ben Chu. And Ben raised the point about the possibility of fully being seen and recognized in the city. And I said, absolutely. And I immediately called Mayor Turner. So I want to publicly thank Ben for his boldness and trust in me to get this done. This experience also cements the point that although your representatives may not always look like you, but if they share your values and your priorities become our priorities, then everyone wins, and that's what makes our city so great. I'm expecting great things from the board, the commission, and your appointees, and I appreciate this. And as Mayor Turner mentioned, this is not just about appointing a committee within the 7 months of his term, but this is about elevating the voice and the visibility of our city, and we can't do that without you. Lastly, I want to thank my fellow council members that shared recommendations and supported the nomination process. And I look forward to all of the innovation and wisdom and contribution you'll continue to make, not only just particularly in your city, in your community, but for our great city. Thank you very much.
Distinguished Mayor, Councilwoman, council members, and community leaders, business leaders, and fellow board members. Mayor, I want to thank you and the Councilwoman on behalf of the Board of Directors with profound respect and gratitude for your vision in creating this new Asian American Pacific Islander Board. It's your foresight which underscores our city's commitment to celebrating diversity, fostering understanding, and empowering every community. This initiative is a significant step towards making Houston more inclusive, and for that, we owe you, Councilwoman, and the Mayor our sincere appreciation. As was discussed earlier, this is an appropriate month to do this because May is AAPI month. So again, Mayor and Councilwoman, your timing was impeccable. Regarding the AAPI community, since 1973, the AAPI community has grown from 1% to 26% of Houston's population, with a total population of 1.2 million, and the community continues to grow. Our board is charged with the responsibility to carry out the Mayor's initiative and the Councilwoman's initiative over the next 7 months and to serve as a bridge to the new administration. And the Board of Directors is going to work hard in 3 main areas. The first is to promote engagement between the AAPI community and the City of Houston. The second is to identify and recommend leaders of our community to serve on the city's boards and commissions because we are definitely underrepresented in the city's boards and commissions. And third is to advise the mayor and work with law enforcement, such as Chief Finner, to identify issues that are affecting the businesses of the AIPI community and to determine how best to resolve those issues. Those are the 3 main initiatives the board is going to take on. And Mayor and Councilwoman, I'm happy to report we're going to be meeting within the next 2 weeks, and we'll report back to you very soon. So with that, I want to thank all of the board members for attending. Some of the board members could not be here, and we all look forward to working with the Councilwoman, the Mayor, and City Council to achieve these objectives. Thank you.
Thank you. We were hoping Jean Wu might be here to make a couple of remarks, and you know what? This is somebody who understands his cue. Ladies and gentlemen, State Representative Jean Wu. Come on up. This is like in the movies, you know?
Wait, before, let me let him catch his breath. I think Representative Wu was just outside the door waiting for us to call his name. But before he speaks, of course, you know he's been in Austin. I had the privilege and the pleasure of working with State Representative Jean Wu for several sessions, and of course, this has been a tough session on so many fronts. But I will tell you, when it comes to like Senate Bill 147, that did not make it through, was not successful. I want to give him a great deal of credit for his leadership on that issue, but on so many other issues in the legislature. When I tell you he is an excellent legislator and represents the city of Houston well, okay? Not just any one group, but the entire city of Houston well. And we are honored to have him in Austin, Texas. I know the governor called you all back for a special session at 9 p.m. last night. And then, of course, I think you all started again this afternoon. And so I didn't know if you were going to be able to make it. I'm glad you are here. So please give it up to the Honorable State Representative Jean Wu.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And so now that he said nice things about me, I have to tell the story that I think he knows the story, but I'm a good legislator because I learned from the best, right? And that's not a throwaway line. In my office, in my district office, I keep a photo of my favorite photo from my time in the legislature, and that is a photo of me sitting down with then Representative Turner, one of our senior members of the delegation, and then he was the chair of our county delegation at the time as well. But it was my first session. We were working on the anti-abortion bill that Wendy Davis was famous for filibustering and all this stuff. And I was, being a freshman, I was trying to learn the process. I was trying to think of ways to be a part of the process, and you know, and the one person I said I need to sit down and talk to, I already knew. It was Sylvester Turner. And I sat down with him. He was very patient. He's very kind. And I have all these insane ideas about how we could, like, can we amend the bill? Can we is this a good point of order? Is this, and I would just sit there for like half an hour just bugging him, and he had a smile on his face the whole time, and he put up with me. But, really watching you work and how you carried yourself and how you interacted with other members really instructed me how to do my job. And so I have to compliment you and say, like, my success is your success. So I appreciate that. But speaking of Senate Bill 147, right? So this is legislation that around the nation, this is being passed. Some states have done it in a way that is inoffensive, some is non-discriminatory. Other states like Florida, like Louisiana, some other places have gone full bore and handled it in the absolute most discriminatory way possible, right? And I'm very proud that we here in Houston with our mayor that we reacted instantly. And people say like, well, Gene, you defeated this bill. I did not do anything. I organized some people. I made some speeches. I interviewed with press. But the people who stopped this was our community, right? It was because of our community, Democrats, Republicans, independents, people with no political affiliation whatsoever, people who have never voted even, got together and voiced their concerns and told legislators how they felt about things. They used their voice to give themselves power, right? And defeating this legislation was not the important part. I want to make that really clear. Defeating this type of legislation against our community was not the important part. The important part of this entire exercise was that the Asian community, for the first time in our history, got together, united as one, and spoke with one voice to say, we are here. Just because we are sometimes quiet does not mean that we don't have thoughts and we don't have feelings. And when we are upset, we will let you know, right? And this empowerment of our community, right? And I tell the Asian community all the time, we're part of all the different minority communities, different immigrant communities. The Asian community is one of the wealthiest, one of the most prosperous, one of the most successful. But having money is not enough, right? Being successful is not enough. And it's not enough to protect our future, and it's not enough to protect our children. Because even with money, even with power, other states still passed bills like 147, right? And discriminate against our own community. What we need is voice. What we need is action. And I'm so grateful for the mayor for putting together this work group, right? This advisory council, to give our community a voice that our community has long sort of almost shunned. Because, like even my parents, my dad's an attorney, my mom's an engineer, and I'm an elected official for 10 years, and they still tell me every once, maybe you should just keep quiet on this. Don't be so loud, don't be so noisy. I'm like, no! It's time for us to be loud. It's time for us to be noisy. And I'm so grateful that we now have the ability to voice our opinion, even opinions that don't necessarily have to be angry, right? That we would like to be a part of this city more so. We would like to be a part of this society, this part, the overall culture of Houston. And for us to be recognized and not to be whitewashed and not to be sort of cast to the side and saying, thanks for doing all this stuff, but you go stand in the corner. We will no longer be silent. We will no longer be told to sit down and mind our own business. And we will no longer simply just let things be. And I'm so grateful for the mayor, again, for making sure that our community will have a voice going forward. So, thank you.
Thank you, Gene. And I'm sure you drove the speed limit all the way from Austin to Houston. Well, thank you for attending. I'm listening to Gene's inspiring words and the mayor's also, and I am remembering. I literally just thought about this about 2 minutes ago. But when I first started, years ago, Mayor, when you and I were little pups, at that time, I was the only Asian reporter on television in the city of Houston. I was the only Asian reporter on television in the city of San Antonio, where I came from. And so now, these many years later, I am privileged and proud to be able to put all of your faces on TV at 6 o'clock tonight. And my heart is warmed as well by that opportunity. A perfect time, as we said, at the end of AAPI month, to go ahead and announce the creation of this new advisory council. The mayor now willing to take some questions from all of you for a few moments.
Danny, were you going to say something? Yeah. Well, there's a mic right there. Danny, use that mic. Yes, it's been streamed, so Danny, yeah.
Okay, a few short decades ago, the first word from the moon was Houston. And what followed that was very sad. Houston, we have problem. Houston, we have problem. Coming to Houston in 1984, as a little boy, I was praying that somebody is going to change that. And who else can you expect from more than that elected official, mayor of the city of Houston? Mayor, in the past few years, I have seen you actively have led several delegations to several countries, several cities. And when we were there, you were proudly saying that, Houston, we have opportunity, didn't you? Did you not?
Yeah.
You tell people around the world that, Houston, we have opportunities. And I like that a lot. How do I know? Because I was part of that, and I'm pretty sure many of you was part of that. So I thought you have done an outstanding job of changing the image of city Houston. Great.